Hi, I'm Sarah Popejoy with Musicians Empowered, and thank you so much for joining us on Tuesdays with Sarah. Today is just we're gonna go over a few things. First of all, I want to thank you for joining the email list, and thank you for coming out on the Hangout. We're so glad to have you. I want to share with you kind of the vision that I have for Musicians Empowered. Uh-oh. Just one moment here. Sorry about that. So, just one moment. Okay. So today we're going to talk about a few things that kind of I've gone over the week. Yesterday I wrote an article, and it was partly talking about Facebook likes, but then it had some other good principles in it as well, and not Facebook likes per se, but more Facebook engagement. And so, let me do this a little closer. So one thing with Facebook engagement that most people don't know is that engagement is super important. Engagement is like when you're posting things on your Facebook wall. Engagement includes things like likes, people going to your link, shares, and so forth. And one way that you judge that how well people are engaging with your site is by going to insights, which is one reason why you never ever want to purchase likes, because when you purchase likes, especially like what I'm really talking about too is like from an outside source who's just going to give you a whole bunch of likes so it looks like a lot of people are following you, what it ends up doing is hurting your engagement. And then not only does it hurt your engagement, but then because less people want to see what's on your Facebook page, and it's not really targeted to them. So these are just a few things, but let me digress a little, and I'm going to start out with a story of how I got started with the vision of doing Musicians Empowered, and then I'm going to loop back to kind of a little bit what the rest of that article is about, and you can go check it out on musiciansempowered.com. It was yesterday's article as well, so I really feel like it had a lot of really great information. You know, I mean, I always try to put out as much information as possible from readings and from everything else that I learn, but anyway, so I think it'll have a lot of really great insights that you'll love. So anyway, so let me talk about a little bit how, like, the whole idea and the vision of what Musicians Empowered, how it got started on. My knee keeps shaking. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about me. For those who don't know me from Adam, I'm a singer-songwriter, artist, and I back when I was 23, moved to Nashville, Tennessee, lived there for about 10 years total, and just doing the whole Nashville scene, chasing my dreams. And you know, one interesting thing about Nashville that's really, really great, besides all the people there who are musicians and songwriters who can share with you as well, is that not only that, is that what's great about Nashville is that, and you're surrounded by people who, one, who you learn from a lot, but two, who they also have a dream and a vision. And that's really hard it's easy to get lost with that dream and that vision when you're isolated in a city that doesn't necessarily have those dreams and those visions. I want to give you like a little bit of an example. So I just recently moved back home to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to be near my family. That's really important to me, and because I've been away for so long, and so but I ran into someone here in Tulsa, and they asked me, well, so, and I told them about, where I was and that how I, was actually from, Oklahoma. And they said, oh, so was that kind of like a bucket list? Well, my response was, no, it was a passion. Because a lot of times I think that people, it's funny because it's like, I feel like there's this large amount of people who don't necessarily see what, when musicians are pursuing their dreams, when musicians are, going out there and putting their stuff out there and really trying to create a way for themselves, they don't see that as, like a viable avenue of being able to make money. I think they just see it as a pipe dream type bucket list thing. And, to me, it's so important to, that's the whole idea and concept of Musicians Empowered, is to actually empower you with the tools to be able to market your music online in a massive way, so that, so that it's not just that, not just a pipe dream, because it isn't. To me, it's like very personal. That's why I said it's a passion. When I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, what was great about Nashville too is that everybody there is pursuing music. Like you've got this, one time I heard that there were 100,000 songwriters there in that city, which is I think Nashville's maybe 1 million people. Maybe it's not even that many people. But so, 1 out of every 10 people was a songwriter. And more than likely either actually, working in the industry or pursuing to work in the industry. And the thing is, when you were in Nashville, it wasn't like, there may have been a couple people who viewed it that way, but it didn't really matter because you're around such a massive amount of people who understood the fact that it was an industry that you could succeed at, that people did every single day, either got publishing deals, that people either, were, I hate to use the word discovered, because usually that, to me, that doesn't happen so much as people purposefully putting themselves out there and making themselves available. So, and that's what a lot of what Musicians Empowered is as well. When you put yourself out there, when when you're continually putting out the hard work, there's a saying that I love, when preparation meets opportunity. It's not because the opportunity just presented itself. It's because you've been preparing yourself this whole time, and then the opportunity came about. It's because you worked your ass off, and then eventually the opportunity came about. So, so basically, that's what we're about here. And a lot of our focus on, articles, and now I'm going to be having these webinars every single Tuesday. And I know they'll get more organized and more better. And I know that the whole idea is to also kind of give you value, to point you in the right direction, to where you need to go to really make this dream a reality. Because I'm extremely passionate about this, because when I was in Nashville, I was extremely passionate about this. I toured throughout the Northeast. I would, I got a lot of college radio airplay. I learned how to really get my stuff in front of, I was really good at publicity, basically because I just bugged the crap out of them. Well, I did it in a very polite way, of course. But, when you have that passion to be able to really, go after what you love, when it is not just, oh yeah, this is something I'd like to do, or I'd like to be famous, but when it's really a passion that's deep down in your core, that's when you'll do whatever it takes to make things happen, in a legal and ethical way, of course. And that's, and that's what we're all about. So back to the story I was telling you earlier about the article. So I was in the article I was talking about Pat Summit, and some of you may be basketball fans or sports fans, and some may not. But Pat Summitt was a basketball coach. She's not anymore because unfortunately she got ill. But basketball coach for the University of Tennessee, women's basketball. And what's funny is, a lot of times, let's be honest, let's be real, women's basketball doesn't get a whole lot of, press and a whole lot of, out there. But, she would always be on ESPN and so forth. Not that I watch it all the time, but my brother does. So, so anyway, she would be, and the reason why is because she won a lot. Her team won a lot of basketball games, and she was a great coach. And so I really looked up to her because she was so successful. I love reading about anybody who is in their genre of what they do successful. And so in basketball and coaching, she was successful. And so I read one of her books, and it was actually, I think I found it at like the dollar store or something. And the book was called Go to the Summit. And in this book, she talks about, she talks a lot about, how she was raised and so on and so forth. But one of the main points that really stuck out with me about this book was the fact that she focused, that she said that that competition was important. And it's not that they didn't, that they always wanted to win, of course. But the way that she said it is, if we focus on the way other teams are playing, because other teams can have good days and they can have bad days. They can be playing good teams, they can be playing bad teams. And if we're just focusing on being able to win that game, then, they were just going, she knew that they were just going to be a mediocre team. And so her focus became on how can they be better at actually, competing against themselves. Actually, and she would actually, I think she would even, have individuals, like she would have, I don't know if you would call it stats, but, stats within teams and individuals of, so let's say like, somebody on the team, had scored 15 points before, well, or maybe with that team last year. So she would say, okay, our goal today is for you to score, 18 points or just whatever. But everybody everybody as the unit had a, and it wouldn't just be scoring points, it'd be so many passes and so many this and so many that. And so basically, by putting it out there, by actually using numbers to say, by using stats to differentiate whether or not they were playing better or not, it was like a measuring point of how they were doing individually and as a team. And by doing this, they were able to, become one of the best teams in the nation, in the United States. And so, so that mentality just really stuck with me. And because a lot of times too, in marketing, the more that I've been learning about marketing is it does not really do yourself a whole lot of good to be extremely competitive with everybody. Because the reason why is because what you want to do is you want to form alliances. Because in marketing, it's all about getting your reach out to your targeted people and to more people. And so the best way that you can do that is by joining forces with other people, other musicians or whoever you're marketing to, and creating that alliance and reaching more people. And so this concept is very vital if you're going to be marketing in 2015, especially online. And so you look at it, but if you look at it though, people have been doing this for years. You look at, people with opening acts. Why do people have opening acts? Well, they have opening acts because it's going to bring in a little bit more for them. and the opening act gets more exposure. And this is just, this is how they work together. They're not worried that somebody's going to buy their album and not vice versa. So in saying that, if you can be competitive with yourself, be competitive as to how you get your stuff out there, be competitive with how you sound as a musician. I know that's one thing that's always been my core as a musician, is how can each and every day I become a better songwriter and a better musician. Every time I write a song, I look at the song and I say, okay, how can that song be better? When I used to go, when I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, I would go play open mics when I first got there. And one of the great things about open mics is I was able to really work on my craft and really get in front of people and really say, okay, well, this song I can tell that the audience doesn't respond to as well, or they listen really well, but when it comes to the bridge, they kind of drop off. I was able to really look at everybody's faces and see where people responded and where they just kind of fell off. So if you can do this with your marketing as well, and hold yourself accountable, then you can really take stuff to another level. And that's one of the things that I've really been focusing on, even just this past week, is just, okay, how can I really make myself accountable for how many people I reach daily, how many people I reach weekly, and how many and how effective my message is. So it's the exact same thing as if you're performing in front of an audience or if you're marketing your music. And so I've also got some really great stuff that's going to be coming in the future as well that I'm going to share with you. Some really great articles. I'm going to be focusing a little more on social media because it's one of the best ways to reach a lot of people without having to spend a lot of money. So if you can do it in an effective way, then you can take people and send them through your sales funnel. And so I've got more information on that too. If you haven't already gone through the 8-day boot camp, I encourage you to do that, because the 8-day boot camp gives you an idea of how to really how a sales funnel actually works. And the reason why it's an 8-day boot camp is because it actually takes you through every single step, starting with online, when you're getting leads, and how to capture those leads through email and through reach on social media and so forth, and taking them into sending those emails out, and then getting people to buy, and also sending them to your website as well. And so, and one thing that you've probably heard me talk a lot about, if you've read my emails and also read some of the articles I've done, is you see me talk about Truth or Hype, the viral blogging system. And so I just want to kind of break down for you what that is, just so that okay, this is something that would be really great for me, or this is something that I really don't think I want or need. So when you go through the system and you sign up on my email list, you get put to this video that's called Truth or Hype. And the video is, it's a lot of storytelling, and then eventually goes into a teaching with Mars, who's really awesome, by the way. But the whole purpose of the system is that the main core product is a blogging system. And the purpose for the blogging system is the fact that that by putting out either video, you can use a blog for several things. You can either put out video, you can either put out pictures, you can put out, you can write, you can do anything with a blog. It's just basically like, the same things that you're already probably posting on Facebook, except the fact that you have a little more reign and you can talk a little more. I mean, you're not going to write a whole article, or you're not going to just go on and on and on about something that happened probably quite so much on Facebook, but it's also a great place to direct people to from social media. What a lot of people don't know, actually what I didn't know even probably 8 months ago, was that Facebook is really rewarding blogs. Um, Facebook is actually, they like blogs a lot. And the reason why is because they tend to have a whole lot of information. And people will go to that blog and then they'll come back to their Facebook. They don't, just stay on that blog. But it gives people value. So Facebook likes blogs a lot. So they also like the Kalatu blog, which is what the Truth or Hype, in the Truth or Hype video, what the product that it sells. And so because like a lot of times on my Facebook, if you've gone to my Facebook, I also promote other musicians through some Fiverr gigs. And so a lot of times it's funny because I will see people who will have posts, not just, from their website. A lot of times people's websites, they haven't really built the authority that Google is looking for, that Facebook is looking for. And so whenever you post something on Facebook, if that actual link, if that actual page is not something that Facebook thinks that your audience will like, then you won't get as many views. You can tell this. Now, you can't tell this if you just have an introductory Facebook page. But if you've got the, where you've got your initial Facebook page and then you make a separate Facebook page that's like a fan page. If you make your fan page, then you'll be able to tell. What's great about the fan page is you can go and, most of y'all probably know this, but you can see how many views that actual post gets. Well, whenever I put in my blog, from the Kalatu, because it has so much in the Alexa ranking and everything like that, it's an authoritative site. Facebook sees it as valuable, and so I'll get more views. And if I do, if I do the right things, some things that I've learned through purchasing some of their teachings as well, because in the Truth or Hype and Empower, they have teachings as well. By using those things, I'm able to increase my views even more through Facebook. And so, and another thing is too, another way that you can also do this, get more people to actually look at your Facebook page, is by using other sites who have more authority than you. So for instance, if a lot of times I'll go and I'll find things that I feel like my targeted market likes, but it's got to be from websites that have more authority. By doing that, by posting it onto my Facebook, then I'm able to get more views, because Facebook says, oh, people really like this site, and so so Facebook will reward that. So anyways, but basically just with the whole blogging system, and I kind of went off into a tangent about Facebook there, but with the whole blogging system, which may or may not be for you, but is you're able to, put down your information. Like, let's say you're going to a show. Let's say you're having a show. You can talk about that show. You're able to possibly get ranked in Google and have people find you organically that way when they're just searching for a keyword. You're able to get more reach on Facebook, and you're also, but more importantly, you're also able to create part of what's called a sales funnel. And like I said, I won't go totally into that because there's a lot to it. But if you go in the 8-day boot camp for that, you should be getting, if you just got on the email, it should be on the 3rd day. It should start. And so that really goes over how to actually build that sales funnel to go from start to finish, to turn strangers into fans. And so if that sounds like something that might be interested, that something that you could use, click the link below and watch the video. And also there's a money back guarantee. It's at least 14 days. It may be more by now, but if you go in and you're like, you know what, this thing really isn't for me, you can cancel and they'll give you your money back. They won't even ask you why. They won't hassle you. But I don't think I've ever had anybody ever do that. So who's ever signed up. So, and another great thing too is, and I'm almost about to forget about this part, is on Saturdays. Right now it's on Saturday mornings, and it will be recorded too as well, as this will for the rest of the week until Saturday. You have until Saturday. If you go ahead and you say, hey, you know what, I really want to try this thing out, and I really want to see if I can take my online marketing to another level, then come Saturday, we're going to have a more in-depth teaching that is specifically to the system. We do this not to, shut out people or anything like that, because it's just to people who have the system, because the whole idea is I want to see you succeed. This system, obviously, blogging can be for, everybody's using it nowadays. You see Forbes is blogging, magazines are blogging, regular websites, they have blogs. It's something that pretty much everybody's doing now, because they realize the value, how much more valuable it is than an actual static website. But me specifically, the reason why I chose to really want to help musicians out with finding this product that is from Empower, and from really, designing my blog to help musicians, is because I've been there, I've done that. I know the pains and I know the struggles. I know what it's like to, go do a tour that's hours away, and you're deciding, okay, let's see, do I want to make money off this tour, or do I want to sleep in a hotel? I don't know. Maybe you've never, had that dilemma or whatever. Maybe you're smarter than me at doing that. But the whole thing, concept is, I know all the ideas and the struggles that you go through. So, anyways, I digress. So this Saturday, it's going to be at 11 a.m. Central Time. Because you don't want me any earlier than that. I'm no good. I haven't had my coffee yet. So, but we'll be talking about teaching how to actually use this system, how to actually use it specifically for your music, and how to really get your reach out there, and how to do it in in the quickest way possible. Because I've also been using the system for, I guess, Musicians Empowered. We've been around about 1.5 years, and so I've learned a lot in that time. And so I hope that you join me Saturday, because I would absolutely love to see you there. And eventually, we're going to be bringing for everyone who signs up, we're going to start bringing people out there as well. Now, if that just totally petrifies you to, you wouldn't want to be on a Hangout, nobody's going to be made to be on a Hangout, but I just really want to start, giving more and more exposure to the musicians who actually join, which you're going to see. I'm going to be sending out an email on Monday, kind of give you an example of some of that exposure, because as a unit, another core value is teamwork, to work together, to empower each other, and to be the absolute best that we can be, not just as individuals, but as a core unit and as a team, and to lift each other up. So I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day, and click the button below, get in and join, because I would love to work with you. And I'd love to see you this Saturday on Social Circles. Have a great day. Bye.